The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello everyone and welcome to Young at Heart. My name is Tom Scarff from the Albany County Department for Aging. Young at Heart first premiered back in the 1970s on WRGB Channel 6, and here we are some 40 years later, because of the good people in the town of Colonie, bringing it back to all of you on cable access. And we will be with you every month to bring you information on all things senior citizens. Today my guest is the Commissioner of the Albany County Department for Aging, the leader of over 60,000 senior citizens in Albany County, Commissioner George Brown. Welcome, George.
Well, thanks, Tom. Thank you for having me, and it's great to be here, considering the fact that back in the 70s when you were doing this, we were both in our 20s, and here we are today, pal. It just seems like yesterday.
It does seem like yesterday, but things have changed, and we're going to be talking about some of the changes that we've seen in the areas of services for senior citizens. Now, first of all, let's get something straight. It's no longer senior citizen, you're telling me.
That's correct.
What is the new politically correct?
Older adults.
Okay.
Is the politically correct assumption.
So
right now.
I'm no longer a senior citizen, I'm an older adult.
You are an older adult.
Well, I feel much better about that then. I can get up tomorrow morning and run 3 miles, and it's all about being politically correct, let's put it that way.
At this point, yes, but the nature of our business is we need to take care of, no matter what you call it.
People over the age of 60.
Who you call it, all our seniors, our older adults have to be taken care of.
George, you've been with the department now for almost 18 years?
Since September of 2000, yes.
Okay. So, you know, you're into your 17th year now, almost 18 years, and you've seen a lot of changes come down the pike.
Right.
What are some of the good things that you've seen happen?
Well, some of the good things is that there's a progressive look to seniors that no longer, I guess there was a stigma. Of course, I never had that stigma, but the fact of the matter is a senior now should be wearing, or a older adult should now be wearing a badge of, that as a badge of honor that they've gotten this far in their life. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of changes in the fiscal end of it, of which I was in for the first 13 years, and now I'm in my 4th year as commissioner. The business itself is changing. There are now, from 60,000 in 2010, probably closer to 67,000 seniors. And the problem is there are now a lot of seniors, because of longevity and everything else, into their 70s and 80s. And now there's a tendency, now we have to look at changes in services, because it's now you have two separate sets of, more or less two separate sets, and I don't mean to stigmatize anybody, but now you have a younger senior and what you want to call traditional older adult.
Well, so actually there's 2 levels of being an older American now. So you have younger older Americans and older Americans.
Right.
What are the differences in services that they may need?
Well, at this point, you know, a 65-year-old senior may not be at that point that they want to go to a senior center to have their meal or their congregate meal, or they may not need services that an older citizen would need. Okay, we need to now focus, and we're doing that because there are a lot of organizations, in addition to Albany County, that are now getting involved in a variety of different services. We can no longer at the county level support everything, so we need to go back out and work with what once we used to call our providers, and now I call them our partners, and I always did for the last 3 years, and even getting involved in organizations that we never may have affiliated with that we now have to do, such as statewide senior issues, the Issues Forum, now to get involved with agencies with disabilities like NABA and the Hearing Association. We need to start getting together with them to, start coordinating services and in a manner of which we can conduct and get information out to these people so we can try and help them. In addition to that, there's been a big influx, as we all know, in the population of people, and I don't know if the immigrant word is the proper thing, but we now have a large population, such as the Chinese, the Hindu Indian, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but also we do have, and you and I both know, there's a lot of people from the Middle East that are here, and we need to now reach out to them in a manner which we didn't have to do before. Now we need to kind of get out into the grassroots level to get them information on what services are out there, sometimes in a more difficult manner of what we did in the past. It's not a matter of taking a piece of paper and say, here you go. We need to get involved in different things like MAMI and Language Line, which are services that will help us interpret for people who don't yet have a grasp on the English language, so that they can understand exactly what services are available to them, because we certainly want to serve them also.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that there's a lot of intricate technological differences between now and back in the 1970s, where we're gathering and we're putting things in folders and files, and a lot of the computerized stuff that we didn't have back in the 1970s. But that doesn't matter to the older American. That doesn't matter to the families of the older Americans. And that's something that I think we need to take a look at, is that although there is a lot of work that has to be done technologically, that doesn't get the person a pipe fixed in their house after it's exploded at 4 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't get them food on their tables if they can't cook. What can we do for that?
Well, right now we've had in the county since 2004 New York Connects, and that is a number in the county where people can call and find out what services are available, and arrangements can be made to get out to either see people or to schedule services. Okay, within the last couple of years now, that entity is going to the state level, which will be all-encompassing for the entire state of New York. But there's been a few bumps in the road on that, and then maybe down the road we'll take care of that. We do have a great staff. Our New York Connects line is staffed by our Department of Social Service people, who are, as you know, right down the hall from us if there's a problem, and we communicate with them all the time, especially on difficult issues. But we try and make sure that if things out there, if someone needs something, we may have to go out of the box, and we may have to go past the traditional services that we had and reach out even further to help someone out. Maybe past the traditional services we provide, to try and get them an electrician or a plumber or someone to help them out, or someone to help them if their furnace goes bad. And we are trying to do that.
Are most of the programs income driven?
For the most part, most are, and that is set up by the Older Americans Act to try and provide for the lower income people. But the services, providing of the age requirements for various programs, there are levels that we provide services where we put a fee on, or not a fee on, but we put on we give our providers a set amount to provide the service. Then we may ask the senior to provide a little bit of a contribution to help offset the cost of that. And it's not that, we're trying to take money away from people, but if someone is in that capacity and can give us a little bit of a contribution towards the program, no matter how it is, at the end of the program or towards the end of the program period, that income could be sizable enough that if one of the providers of that service, if we were to be short of money, comes back into the pot, would be able to provide some additional services for people.
What would you say is the number one problem facing older Americans in Albany County?
Well, right now, the number one problem that I see for an older citizen here in Albany County is isolation. Mm-hmm. I believe isolation is a very big issue, specifically for seniors that are homebound. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I can't keep that senior coming out of my.
That's all right.
Just a habit for all these years, and that's the biggest problem, and it's pretty well known throughout the aging community, and a lot of different organizations, including us, are in constant contact and meeting, and we're trying to see what we can do to maybe create some programs or open up some of the programs, say like transportation or something, where we can do a little bit more than just the 4 or 5 basic things, take them to the doctors, to the grocery store, that I'd like to be able to find a way that if someone calls and needs a ride to the library or wants to go visit a friend or something, that it's possible that we could make that happen.
So now you just said that there's 60, maybe 66,000 seniors in Albany County. Mm-hmm. I use the word senior too. That's about 20% of the population. It's higher than 20% if there's 300,000 people in Albany County.
I would say it's up higher than the 20% of 2010. You are correct, yes.
And it's just going to get more and more and more. There's studies that say that it's going to go way up. I understand.
I got some numbers that they're looking at right now. Projected it could be 67,000, and that's in the 5-year period since the census. And as high as potentially by 2030, there could be 85,000 older adults in Albany County, which, I don't know if that's in proportion to the thing. That's well over, that's 25, 26, 27%.
So somebody calls your office and our office and says, my wife, I don't know how to cook, and my wife can't cook anymore, and we don't have anything for lunch. What would you do?
Well, what we would do is we would direct them to call the New York Connects hotline number. They in turn would enter into a conversation, and as long as they had the requirements or the ADLs, would send a nurse out, who is what we used for home delivered meal and daycare assessments, and make sure that person qualifies, and then we would arrange to have them set up on a home delivered meal schedule, depending on their family, if their family, whatever, if they're getting family supports.
I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios, and let me know what your answer would be to it. All right, my mother just entered into a contract with a roofer, and I'm not so sure if the contract is sound or not. Is there anything that she can do to find out about that?
Well, depending on where the contract is, if it's over with, my suggestion is if she has a legal issue, I would, or New York Connects would refer her to Legal Aid Society, who is our contractor right now for legal services. However, there are more areas that I would send people to. The Bar Association has pro bono. They have an office down on 112 State Street in the county building, and the law school has pro bono.
But you do have a legal program, a legal services program.
We do, yes.
All right. My mom can't get out to shop. She loves to shop. She loves to grocery shop, but she can't. She has no way to get there.
Okay. If she can't get out to shop, we have an in-home shopping program. Okay, where someone would come in. Most likely, it would be a volunteer from one of the senior agencies would come in and check in on her, and most likely would take her list and go to the nearest supermarket and get them in and get some provisions in so she can do what she has to do.
And if she wants to shop herself, can she get a ride there?
We do, if she's capable and she can pretty much get around on her own. we do have a program, our transportation program. We'll take people to the grocery store. We'll take them to the grocery store. We'll take them to the pharmacy if she'd like to get out to the pharmacy to pick up her scripts.
Doctor's office.
You know, obviously to the doctor's office if they're not on Medicaid, then they would, obviously we would make sure that would be our priority to get them to the doctor's office if they needed to get for dialysis or any procedures and anything else. We would get them there and make it a priority to be able to get them and bring them back.
Or if you got a call, say, I think my father's getting a little bit feeble, and I want him to get some, he doesn't get up and get out and do things. Are there any recreational programs that they can be part of?
At this point, we do have a daycare program, which is in a couple different areas in the county. SSA has a great program.
SSA?
Senior Services of Albany. Colonie Senior Services has a great program in a couple of locations. And also the Eddy has a program over in Rensselaer across from St. John's Church where they do bring people in from Albany County into their daycare program. And all three of them are great programs. And they can accommodate the seniors for a variety of needs.
And the other one would be, you know, I mean, it's nice that you'll deliver meals to my mom and dad, but they really like to talk to people. Are there any programs where they can eat with other people?
Well, we have a congregate meal program, and we have I believe it's 9 providers, and some of them have multiple sites, and there's sites throughout the county. In Albany, Waterville, Cohoes, Green Island, up in the hill towns, up in Bern, and we would provide transportation to get them there. Some of the programs are 5 days a week, some of them are 3 days a week, depending, and it's meant to be just that. Not that they get a pretty good, nutritious meal, which is pretty much governed by the federal government through the State Office of the Aging, but give them a chance to get together for that time and maybe a little bit of time before or after the meal to get in some meaningful conversations and some fellowship with people.
I know the county executive just announced that Albany County is going to become an age-friendly county. That was announced at a press conference that he had back in October, I believe.
That is correct.
And the age-friendly is supposedly taking people from the time they're born until the time that they die and making each period of their life desirable. Mm-hmm. And I guess that the County Office for the Aging is playing a major role in that particular program.
I think you would know a little bit more about that than I would, as you are spearheading the program, and you did come up with us. Back when did you come up with us? Last March?
Yeah, something like that.
And basically to assist me in my small department, and also you were anointed to take over that role and to be the liaison with AARP. And unfortunately, you went and did the retirement thing on me, and now you've come back working part-time, and hopefully working part-time, you'll be able to spearhead this and be the coordinator of all the efforts. It is a daunting task. It is a 5-year program at least. Mm-hmm. And I know you've got the beginning set up, and we're getting halfway through the first year. And I know I was with a couple people on your committee yesterday, and they're very anxious to move forward to work with you. And it is, you're right, it is something that eventually we're going to follow through with everybody from birth to, as I used to tell you, birth to infinity. I see that with the New York Connects program, because the Children, Youth, and Family Services are kind of using the basic stuff that from our provider, Pure Place, and they have a couple different programs, mm-hmm. which eventually will connect together, and that'll be the connection dot on the government end of it to follow people if they have specific problems.
So I guess the bottom line to all of this is that services for our older Americans in Albany County are moving forward quickly. That we've got a lot of things in the hopper, as they say, and a lot of irons in the fire, and trying to do them right is the key, because we've got a lot of these programs are new to the county, and you know, you spearheading the Department for Aging in the 3 years that you've been there, we've actually started a lot of new programs that we haven't had before. You know, it seemed like there was like a period of time when things were just kind of stagnant. Now, but the federal funds are not there like they were back when I was there in the 1970s.
I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to go back 10, 12 years, and the actual federal funds that we get, I haven't seen an increase in several years. I mean, I'm going back even to when I was the fiscal officer of the department. You're correct. The federal funds haven't been staying in proportion. The state funds, pretty much the same way. There was one program that they added some funding to, which you could use across the board on a variety of services to maybe help you here, there, and everything else. But it's now a point where it's past to do more with less, to the point, and as I alluded to earlier, the providers that I contract with, and by the way, we subcontract 99% of all our services out to senior providers throughout Albany County, that I'm no longer calling them providers, I'm now calling them partners, because this is basically what we do. And in addition to those partners that are providing the services, bringing in the fold a lot of our agencies, as I mentioned, NABA and the Hearing Association, to bring them into the fold to make sure that we can utilize our funding if we can help out here, there, or something else, that we get to bigger picture of not just a meal or a ride or a daycare service. It's getting beyond that.
But I remember back maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, when the United States government decided that there would be a sequester, and many of these programs would be either held at the point that they were, or would be even cut. That the county executive, who was the new county executive at the time, Dan McCoy, decided that no programs would be cut in Albany County.
And listen, this is something I've heard now for 5.5 or 6 years under Mr. McCoy, that there's no way that would be cut. The sequester, it hurt us a little bit, but it didn't hurt us as badly as it could have, because a couple of the programs were a little bit on the downslide. So if we didn't provide the service, we didn't spend the money. But the stopgap has always been there with the county executive, that if I needed something, that I was to dial 1-800 county executive, and I have not got into the position where if there's something I need, and in deference to that, the 39 people on our legislature have been extremely, and this is going back from day one, and even under the previous administration, very, very, very sensitive and very, very supportive of the seniors.
And that's the important part, because it's a collaboration between the two branches of government, the legislative and the executive. And you know, thank God they're working together. They're working for the benefit of our seniors. I don't think that there's anything that you've ever asked for that wasn't approved, and that's because of you know, our seniors are probably, I think, our greatest natural resource. Our children on one end, you know, it's like cradle to career. Our children at one end and our seniors at the other end, our older Americans at the other end, that they become so important and vital to being able to pass on experience, and their longevity is one of our greatest natural resources in Albany County. So is there one area or one number that people can call to get help if they need help?
Well, the number to call if someone needs something would be our New York Connects number, which is 518-447-7177. Or if they wanted to talk to someone directly in the Department of Aging, feel free to call 518-447-7198, and that'll bring you into my executive secretary, and you know, she can find me, or we can talk about something and find out where we have to go. My phone rings constantly, and it rings constantly from an old neighbor who had a problem, to one of our Supreme Court judges who was looking for some help with his dad, and now for some help for parent of some of his employees, and anybody who calls for a lot of things. And sometimes we get involved in things not directly involved with what we do as a non-medical operation, but the phone rings constantly from people, acquaintances, or business associates throughout the county to, you know, what can I do if it gets to assisted living, or what happens if we need a nursing home, or...
Now what happens, somebody has a problem, and I'm at this point right now because I just turned 65. Medicare can be kind of confusing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I mean, I'm getting phone calls, I'm getting letters, I'm getting, you know, everything you can think of, trying to tell me that I need to sign up for this, you need to sign up for that. And now I find out, because I did take part in the program that you have. Talk a little bit about the Medicare program.
Okay, well, what we have is a program called HICAP. It's a small program, but once again, as far as the Department of Aging goes, some of those small programs go a long way. It's a health insurance information and an assistance program. We have a provider who spearheads it all, and that person has some subcontracts out with a couple different agencies, and also there is a volunteer network of a group of seniors, and they are thinning out a little bit because some of them have been around since 2000, and they're getting a little older now, and you know, we also have a crackerjack on our staff who has been known to take on some of the tougher stuff and muddle through it, because I know she helped me out. I was in the same boat you were a couple of years ago, because I couldn't believe I was there already, but guess what?
It happens.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
Now, the other thing that Sandy also takes care of is the employment program that we also
Yes.
have. And all right, I mean, there are jobs available sometimes. We have a certain number of slots that can be filled, and they're part-time jobs, and it's actually training you on doing a job that you might not have done before. But also providers. If there's a not-for-profit, I'm watching Greg, our producer over here, if a nonprofit or a government agency needs help, can they ask to have a person placed in their program?
Actually, yes, and I would much prefer to do that, where the person can go in and assist. However, the spirit of the program is that you're putting this person out for training, and that at some point in the time that person's allowed to be on the program, that hopefully they're going to be hired as a permanent employee, not necessarily maybe full-time, but as part-time. And the spirit of the program is, you know, after that period of time, is you can put a person and they would be hired by that organization, which is why we move people around during the course.
We need to have a show that's just dealing with employment, maybe employment and Medicare, and we can talk about all of the different programs that you have. We're going to have to end this. I want to thank George Brown, who is the Commissioner of the Department for Aging in Albany County. Heads up a department of about 9 people that take care of 66 or 67,000 people. Doing a great job, George. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. My staff, I owe it all to my staff. Since I've been the Commissioner, we've had a turnover. We've lost some institutional knowledge, but boy, we gained a lot of quality people.
Thank you, George. Ask you to watch and take a look next month for Young at Heart. We're on throughout the month. I'm not sure exactly when, but I thank you for watching. I thank you for being with us today, and please come back next month for Young at Heart.